Alright, everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You College Football Show. Wherever or have your list, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Sean Cottle, and we've got a wonderful show for today, guys. We're going to be previewing the biggest matchup of the year so far in college football between Georgia and Alabama going down in Tuscaloosa. And we're also going to be revealing the newest edition of our Heisman watch list coming into week 4. So we got a lot to cover today, guys, and it's going to be an exciting show. I'm going to be covering all of this and then some, guys. But before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all the latest content that we post daily. And if you'd like to get exclusive content from the Sorry to Bother You Show, be sure to follow us on Patreon. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in Sorry to Bother You Show. None of this is possible without you guys as fans, so we're so grateful and honored for all the love and support that you guys continue to show us day in and day out. And it's a blessing to have this platform with you guys. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. Like I said, we're going to lead off the show with revealing the newest edition of our Heisman watch list. We've got some mainstays that have been on the list throughout the course of the season, and we've got one new addition to the list as well. Something that's interesting, though, we have yet to have a 5-player list so far this season. So far, we've only done 3-player lists, and that's going to continue to be the mainstay, continue to be the the mode of operation for this list. We've got 3 this week. We might have 5 next week, who knows? But for now, we have 3. And at number 3, we have Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, starting quarterback for Ole Miss Rebels. Jackson Dart has over 1,500 yards on the season, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with a QBR of 88.7, which is good for 6th in the country. Ole Miss has a huge matchup against Kentucky this Saturday. And, Jackson Dart has put up great numbers for Ole Miss so far. However, Ole Miss has yet to play anyone of stature or what many would consider to be a formidable opponent. And with Ole Miss playing Kentucky this week, it'll be a good opportunity for Jackson Dart and Ole Miss to put on a good performance. The game's going to be on ABC, and obviously they're going up against Kentucky defense that gave Georgia lots of fits, gave Georgia lots of troubles 2 weeks ago. So if Jackson Dart can manage to put on a big performance against Ole Miss, like I said, on a national stage, then it can only elevate his status as a Heisman hopeful. And we know what Ole Miss is capable of doing on offensive end, and their defense looks much better as well. Lane Kiffin has a great job of remolding and retooling that Ole Miss program. And like I said earlier this week, man, Ole Miss and Tennessee are 2 teams that very legitimately have a chance of vying for the SEC championship. And I know a lot of people are saying that Tennessee could very well be the best team in the SEC right now, better than Georgia, better than Alabama, better than Texas. I don't believe that. Based on what I've seen so far, I believe what we're going to end up finding out is that Oklahoma is not as good an opponent as we thought them to be. And like I said, it's just like I said with the Big Ten. There's tiers and levels to it. There's tiers and levels to the SEC as well. And I'm going to need to see more out of Tennessee and Ole Miss before I put them in that tier with the Georgias and Alabama and Texas in terms of the best teams in the SEC. But no question about it, the SEC is the most dominant conference, most competitive conference, top to bottom, in the Power 4. But like I said, Jackson Dart slated to have a huge performance against Kentucky this Saturday, which can only bolster his Heisman chances. And at number 2, guys, we have a new addition to the list going out west from Colorado. We've got Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, the dual threat standout star, perhaps the biggest star on the most popular team in college football right now. And just on the offensive end, he has 37 receptions, 472 yards, and 5 touchdowns, averaging 12.8 yards per catch. And defensively, he's got 14 tackles, 9 solo tackles, two pass deflections, one forced fumble, one interception, and it's only given up 38 yards passing against him. So we could very well, Travis Hunter could very well make the case that not only is he a Heisman candidate, but he could very well be the best receiver in college football and could very well be the best defensive back in college football. And what he's doing right now is, quite frankly, unprecedented. And the only thing that will prevent Travis Hunter from winning the Heisman is Colorado's success as a team. The more that Colorado wins games, it will only bolster and improve Travis Hunter's chances of winning the Heisman. And, there's no question about it. Travis Hunter is by far one of the most talented players, if not the most talented player in college football. And his success is directly correlated to Colorado's success, and Colorado's success is directly correlated to his chances of winning the Heisman. So it's all circular, all ties in together. Another question that I have is, will he continue to consistently play both ends of the ball over the course of the season, or will Deion try to save Travis Hunter's energy and keep him on one side of the ball more consistently than other? Because right now he's playing almost, I believe it's almost 150 snaps a game, which is absurd. It's incredible. And is he capable of doing that for the entire season? And that's the only question biggest question I have for it. But as of right now, listen, 4 weeks into the season, Travis Hunter, no question about it, is a Heisman hopeful candidate, and he's, like I said, one of the best, if not the best player in college football right now. And the more Colorado wins, the more you start to hear Travis Hunter's name in the Heisman candidacy, in the Heisman race. And I wonder if this will start a trend in the future of more guys playing both ends of the ball. I mean, for those of you who have not played football at a competitive level, whether it be high school, college, whatever, I don't think it's hard for people to grasp how difficult that is to play both ends of the ball, game in and game out. It's difficult just to play one side of the ball at receiver, but then you have to turn around and play the second most difficult position or third most difficult position on the field at the cornerback position. I mean, quarterback and defensive back are probably the two most difficult positions to play in football. And you have Travis Hunter, like I said, playing receiver and then playing cornerback. And that the physical toll that has on your body, let alone the mental toll of having to remember plays for the offense as well as for the defense, it just speaks to the commitment to craft and just how talented this young man is. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more guys doing this, more guys attempting to play both ends of the ball, or more coaches even allowing players to play both ends of the ball. And obviously not everyone is built for this. There's few and far between. But I do believe we'll start to see more of those guys going into next season and years after. But Travis Hunter right now, no question about it, number 2 on my list for the Heisman watch list. And at number one, guys, coming out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we have Jalen Milroe, quarterback for the Crimson Tide. Now, if you look at Jalen Milroe's numbers, his passing numbers, they don't pop out. They don't scream to you Heisman numbers. He's got 590 yards, but 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, has yet to turn the ball over. And he has a QBR of 76.2, which is good for 22nd in the country. And if we look at his rushing numbers, he's got 36 carries, 156 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So he's accounted for 14 touchdowns for the Crimson Tide, and he had a 5 touchdown performance against Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. And he's looking to to build off of that performance against Georgia this Saturday. Big matchup, like I said, the biggest matchup of the year so far. And Jalen Milroe has shown tremendous improvement from last season in terms of his ability to step up in the pocket, be poised in the pocket, and make quicker reads, quicker decisions. And we already know how great of a runner that Milroe is with the football. Perhaps the best runner of the football in college football, perhaps better than any other running back. But his ability to throw the ball accurately inside the numbers has improved tremendously. We already know how great of a thrower he is with the deep ball, but something he struggled with last year was his ability to throw accurately in the short and intermediate routes. And that's something that Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama staff has worked with Jalen Milroe on in the offseason. And it shows. It shows. Milroe's ability to step up in the pocket and throw it accurately on those crossing routes and those slants and the curls. It's only improving Alabama's offense, and it's adding another dimension to Alabama's offense. And not to mention, obviously, he's gotten much stronger compared to last year, and his top end speed has improved tremendously. And it's only just creating more opportunities for Milroe to add numbers. And is Jalen Milroe can he possibly add to the list of Alabama quarterbacks to win the Heisman? Yeah, I do believe so. And once again, just like Jackson Dart with Ole Miss and Kentucky, Jalen Milroe has a great opportunity this weekend to put on a big performance on an even bigger stage against one of, if not the best team in the country, in Georgia. So if Jalen Milroe is able to have a big performance against Georgia, it will all but bolster his chances of winning the Heisman. And as we start to get into SEC play, this is when guys are going to start to separate themselves in the Heisman race. And I know people are going to ask me, well, why isn't Quinn Ewers on the list? He's been on the list every week. Why isn't he on the list? Well, it's because obviously he was hurt and he didn't play. And now Steve Sarkisian is unsure who's going to be the starting quarterback for Texas going into SEC play. And something that that I've always been a proponent of is that if you have two starting quarterbacks, you have no starting quarterbacks. That is the one position where there cannot be any confusion. There cannot be any gray area. It has to be clear and definitive who your starting quarterback is. And what I could see happening in Texas is that, like I said, because there's no clear definitive answer on who your starting quarterback is, you're not going to get the most production out of either of those guys, Archie Manning or Quinn Ewers. So that's why I don't have Quinn Ewers on my list this week. But Jalen Milroe, no question, poised to have a great performance on the big stage against one of the best teams in college football. So we'll see how he performs. And let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the Heisman watch list for this week? Would you guys add another player, or would you reshuffle the order of which I have these guys in currently? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And in our next segment, guys, we're going to be previewing, like I said, the biggest matchup of the week. The biggest matchup of the year so far in college football between Alabama and Georgia. So, guys, be sure to stick around for that. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we revealed our newest edition of the Heisman watch list, and we had a new member of the Heisman watch list make an appearance, and like I said, all three of those players are poised to have a great performance or have a great showing on a big stage this week. And in this segment, guys, we're going to be previewing the matchup between number 2 Georgia and number 4 Alabama going down in Tuscaloosa. Like I said, perhaps no question about it, actually, the biggest matchup of the year so far in college football, and perhaps a matchup that could have huge playoff implications moving down the line. And if we look, just looking at the numbers, looking at matchup predictor, Alabama has a 65.8% chance of winning this game compared to 34.2% for Georgia. And I believe the last time I checked, it was a pick'em. Yeah, I mean, look, the spread is -1 for Georgia. So I mean, so you could classify it as a pick'em, and the over under is currently set at 50.5. And the biggest key for Alabama will be to limit turnovers against this Georgia defense, and to have consistent offensive line play. One thing that really set Alabama apart against Wisconsin 2 weeks ago was the first game that they had their initial planned starting offensive line. Due to a number of injuries in different positions, they were never really able to get their starting O-line out there throughout the first 2 weeks of the season. But against Wisconsin, they finally had their entire starting offensive line out, and it showed a huge difference having Caden Proctor out there. And the rest of the guys out there was huge, and there's a sense of cohesiveness and chemistry on that line that obviously just translates to better pass protection, better run blocking, which leads to more time for Jalen Milroe to make decisions, and allows a longer time for the plays to develop. So that offensive line for Alabama is going to be huge in this matchup against Georgia. Can they limit interior pressure, and can they create inside holes? Because we know that Alabama has, though they do run a lot of outside handoffs, a lot of pitches and sweeps and zones. They do like to run inside numbers, especially with Chris Haynes, and typically you see Jam Miller get those outside runs. But when Chris Haynes is in there, you want to expect Alabama to run the ball inside the numbers, and obviously that opens it up for play action if they're able to get any sort of fluidity and consistency in running the ball. That just opens up the passing attack for Jalen Milroe. And we know that Ryan Williams has been one of the most explosive receivers so far in college football this season. And a name that we haven't called too much is Kobe Prentice. But Kobe Prentice was actually slated to be the number 1 receiving option for Jalen Milroe in Alabama. And then you still have Kendrick Law and a bevy of other receivers for Alabama. And this by far will be the most explosive offense that the Georgia defense has faced so far this year. And will that vertical explosiveness prove to be an issuance for Georgia's defense? And that remains to be seen. And we saw that Georgia's offense struggled against Kentucky, albeit Kentucky has a phenomenal defense. But something that Alabama does well, they have a tremendous front four, and their linebacking core has done a tremendous job so far of stopping the run. which we know is that something that Georgia likes to do well. And if you take away the run for Georgia, you force Carson Beck to have to make plays and make decisions. And as Carson Beck, has he elevated his level of play to where he's good enough to create plays and to take over a game of this magnitude? And that is something to look out for as well. But this is going to be a great litmus test to see where both teams are at. Just the fact that Georgia right now is a favorite, I think, says more to what people think about Alabama. And remember, going into the season, there were a lot of question marks for Alabama and just how good they would be. But based off the first 3 games, you can see that they haven't really missed a beat, and it's pretty much the same with Alabama. It's under a new regime. And I do believe this game will be close. I do believe this game is going to be more physical than people are expecting it to be. And, much like the SEC championship game from last season, I do believe that Alabama is going to be able to impose its will physically on the offensive end through its ability to run block and to pick up a lot of the blitzes that Georgia is going to throw. So right now, I have Alabama winning this game by a score of 32-27. I do believe this game will be a close game, very exciting game. I do believe it'll be close throughout the entirety of the game. And what's going to separate Alabama from Georgia is its ability to not turn the ball over. I think Alabama's going to find a way to create turnovers, which is something that the defense has done a great job of, whether it be calling fumbles or interceptions. I do believe that Alabama will be able to generate at least 2 turnovers against that Georgia offense, which is going to lead to better field position, which will lead to easier scoring opportunities for Alabama. And I believe that's what's going to be the biggest difference in this matchup. The biggest separator in this matchup is turnovers. And I have Alabama win this game by a score of 32-27. And I will say this: a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to play in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and I don't believe that's entirely true. I don't believe it's difficult to play in Bryant-Denny Stadium because of the fans. The fans really aren't that ruckus, and they're not that loud. It's difficult to play in Bryant-Denny Stadium because of the team itself, not because of the fan base. That's just something I've noticed over the years, and I'd imagine that a lot of opponents of Alabama would say the same thing. It's not the fan base itself that gets loud and raucous, but more so just the team itself. However, still, obviously, home field advantage, huge. Playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium is a huge advantage for Alabama, obviously. But like I said, 32-27, I have Alabama winning this game. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave your thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Georgia is going to pull off the road win? Or do you think Alabama is going to protect its home field and win this game going in SEC play? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it, guys. But with that being said, guys, that's it for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. None of this is possible without you guys, and we're so grateful and honored for all the love and support that you guys continue to show us day in and day out. We'll be back again, guys, on Monday with another college football show and a basketball show as well. Continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, guys. Have a great weekend, and